Hello and welcome to the Good Company podcast, where we are joined with a really exciting guest today.
Hello.
Here we go. Sorry.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, great. Welcome to Good Company podcast, where you're in some pretty good company. My name is Gina Cooper, and I am the proud host. I'm an ICF accredited and twice qualified NLP practitioner. I have a background of corporate experience as a management consultant and executive assistant, supporting notable leaders of top Fortune 500 companies. And I'm crazy passionate about coaching and the key messages around self-advocacy, using your voice, and the power of self-led leadership. Soon to be published author, TEDx speaker, and I also have some online courses coming out soon and my high ticket one-to-one coaching containers, which are launching in September. You can DM me now to get on Instagram to get on the waitlist, or you can email me at gina@goodcompany-coaching.com. With also amazing passionate interests in media, I also do voiceover, empowerment modeling, and acting. I'm the youngest of five, an expat of 10 countries, and an auntie to two little chicken nugget nephews, and I am obsessed with hedgehogs. So I am introducing our very exciting guest, Hannah, which I have wanted to come on this podcast for such a long time. So it's a real honor to have you, Hannah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Oh, we are currently in the Cotswolds in the UK, and it's been really amazing that we've been able to sync up this time and carve out the time for this podcast, especially with Hannah being such a busy mum of three children. So Hannah, without further ado, the introduction to this wonderful and wonderful woman. She is a mother of three. She's a former flight attendant and pilot, the founder and CEO of GlobeFit, a community builder, an author of two books, Jumping Through Hoops and Dancing Through Hoops, a creator of Global Fit Training Academy, mentor to other female entrepreneurs, and runs well-being initiatives for disadvantaged children funded by the government all across the UK. Known for blending movement, creativity, and business strategy, her zone of genius is helping people use movement as a tool for healing, self-expression, and confidence, and then turning that passion into a thriving and sustainable business. The best way you can find her is on Instagram at I am Hannah Charlotte. That's where she shares everything from business tips to behind the scenes of life and training, or you can email her at hannah@globefit.co.uk. She's got some really exciting initiatives on at the moment. She's just launched her training academy with her YMCA approved qualifications in yoga, Pilates, and personal training, as well as her CPD certified online courses. She's also rolling out her new Hoop Alchemist program, which combines somatic healing, creativity, and business strategy. And her one-to-one coaching containers are also launching in September. So you might want to get in there early. Her proudest business achievements to date are building GlobeFit into a seven-figure business that has run across multiple regions in the UK. She's launched the World Hula Hoop Championships, which is a global and annual online event, which I was very, very impressed by. And she's created a brand new training academy that's already attracting students worldwide. She has recently hula hooped on live TV with Katie Piper, and her kids still think her job is just playing with hula hoops. What kind of questions do you get with that, Hannah?
What from my kids?
Yeah.
I think they've just given up. They're like, "What are you doing today? What wacky things happening today with you?"
Oh, really? God. So our podcast title today is something that we have talked a lot about, and I think it's something quite current at the moment in a lot of online spaces, is up-leveling and what it really takes to go from a five-figure business to a seven-figure business and all the things that come with that. I guess one of my first questions to you, Hannah, is what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of the top three things that you really had to get clear on within yourself to really go that marathon, go that lane?
Yeah. So I guess this has been for me. It's been nearly 15 years actually now in the making. But from where I was at zero to here to having this seven-figure business. And I would say the top three things. Okay, the very first thing is consistency. For me, it is showing up and being consistent day in, day out. Like without consistency, there's not going to be a business at the end of the day. Then I think the second thing for me is courage, because without courage, again, you're not going to get from A to B. That courage in the middle, it's like a muscle that's just strengthening and strengthening the more you go, and your courage will grow. So it's having the courage. And probably the third thing is again, it kind of ties in with courage. It's the willpower. It's the willpower and determination. And actually, I probably should add to that that it's also having it's purpose. It's purpose. Because without purpose, it's nothing driving you, you know?
Exactly, being
So
mission
yeah.
driven. And one of the biggest things that actually drew me to Hannah, and I forgot to mention how we met, was actually quite recently at a self-development event. And I was running late, and just, divine timing, the universe, whatever. There was one space left, and it was next to Hannah. And I was like, oh my God, I got in. Obviously, I was really worried that I was late. And one of the questions that we had to ask was like, what do you want someone else to know about you? Or what do you really want to share? And the reason why I was late is because I've been a landlord for about the last 13 years, and I was having some tenant issues. And I was like, do you know what, Hannah? She was like, what? And I was like, I'm a really good person. She's like, yeah, I really get that from you. Because I was so upset that, no, I wasn't that upset, but I was just like frustrated that I was dealing with these things. And I was like, sometimes, good people don't deserve certain things and you go through certain things. Anyway, the second thing that Hannah and I connected over was her love of what she's doing now with the government, with these wellbeing initiatives for children from disadvantaged backgrounds. And I just was so blown away because something I've always wanted to do is go down a similar route, but we'll go into children's schools and really teach about like self-mastery, their inner game, connection to voice, intuition, all of that powerful stuff that we're just not taught in schools. And I just was so touched and moved by what Hannah was doing. And then we really just hit it off from there, connected and spent the whole event together, and then did some really fun things in London. And yeah, it's been a really wonderful friendship, which I'm really grateful for. So yeah, thank you, Hannah. So I really want to ask, I guess a big part as well about, really up leveling from a 5-figure business to a 7-figure business. There's a lot around money mindset as well. And, abundance, our belief systems around money and our limitations. And I guess what really changed for you in that department of really moving that needle of like, this is what I'm earning and this is where I'm fucking going, and really stepping into that.
Yeah, so I do have this belief in you have to become the person that can hold what it is your goal is, what it is you're aiming for in terms of financials. And there's a reason I wasn't just given a 7-figure business in year 1 or year 2, because I would have lost it within months. 100%, I would have been bankrupt by now. Business would have dissolved. I was not ready to hold that. I have not embodied the CEO version of me that I am now. And, fast forward to where I am now, still learning all lessons, still many, many lessons coming my way. But I have definitely embodied the CEO version of me now that is able to hold that. And I think that is the piece that's missing. And that's what people need to sort of realize, I think, is when, why is it not happening quick enough? Why am I putting all this effort in? Why can I not see the money coming? It's down to, yes, obviously money mindset, but with that comes the embodiment, right? Of becoming the person that has grown enough, stretched enough to be able to hold that. Because with that, you're not talking about just holding the 7-figure business. It's everything that comes with that. It's the team, it's the tax bills, it's everything in between. You're being asked to hold all of that. You're not just not just opening your bank account one day and seeing £1 million in your bank account. It's all the cogs of, and the wheels in motion that it takes to hold that.
And I think there's a lot to be said for like the initiation process as well. And like, if you're into manifesting as well, there's so many tests from the universe, and it's like kind of said, it's like building this muscle and strengthening that like gut within us to hold that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's like such a big part of it. What did you what did you stop doing and have to let go of in that process as well of the up level?
Yeah. So in every level, so it's like new level, new devil, right?
That's I've never heard that. There you go. New level, new devil. Let's fucking go, shall we? What kind of devils came out of the
Every level is going to require something else that you are going to have to let go of, and it's shedding parts of you that you don't even realize that exists within you. You're going to have to go deep within yourself to see, like, right, what's not serving me here? Because for me, my biggest thing, and I'm talking to you today about it, has been people pleasing. You know, I grew up in a family of people pleasers. I watched my mom and my grandma have a business, and they made a successful business, but it could have been even more successful had they not tried to people please all the time. You know, I watched my mum crumble sometimes over having to sort of talk to a client about increasing prices. And then, you know, the reactions and being met with the reactions of clients who didn't want the prices increased. And then she would be almost like, oh no, you should revert back to it. Don't worry, don't worry. And I watched this play out through my whole youth, and it kind of almost set me up for this, well, the old version of me, of this person that just wanted to please people and keep people happy. So, you know, I've had to learn the hard way through losing people close to me. Many staff who've worked for me as well. You know, I've had to not, you know, it's trying to remember that you can being nice and being kind to very different things. Yeah. And it was like, I realized I was being too nice. And actually, I could still be kind, but put those boundaries in place and actually step into this person. Didn't have to just please everybody else. You know, yes, I want people to be happy. Yes, I want that. But at the end of the day, I had to realize that actually business comes first. You know, I come first, my family comes first. And it was these feelings of resentment building up inside me when I was actually going against my inner voice.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's these lessons. That's probably one of my main lessons that I've had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
You know, I learned it the hard way. I got burned many, many times. So letting go of that people pleasing, shedding that, and actually realizing that, you know, you're going to lose people along this journey.
Absolutely.
And it is, you know, it doesn't have to be lonely
Yeah.
because you can find people. There's people out there, there's networks.
People will show up,
They
people
will.
aligned people will show up. And I think there's a lot to be said on what Hannah said about what we learn and pick up from our mothers as well, and like how important and why how even more important that is of like who we show up as women in our lives and for our children or our godchildren or our nieces and nephews. And the things that we think don't matter actually really do. And so sometimes if we don't want to do it for ourselves, it's like using that incentive to do it for them as well. What do you think, Hannah, stops people from up leveling and really going that distance and just staying? Yes, you know, a lot of people do stay in a five-figure business or five-figure salary, and then I guess what stops them from taking that leap and staying there?
It's the comfort trap, right? It's the comfort trap. I think you can get used to being where you're at. And like, again, I'll say new level, new devil. Like every level is going to come with something that's going to push you into discomfort. And I think that's what stops people a lot in their tracks is that it's fear. It's fear a lot of the time.
Okay, you know, can I really do this? Do I really believe in myself?
Yeah.
You know, all imposter syndrome.
Yeah, imposter syndrome, of course. And yeah, it is. It's maybe I think what I'm seeing a lot is people are comparing themselves or perceived comparison because it's not real, let's face it. They're looking at other people out there on social media platforms and they're looking at that and comparing themselves and thinking that that person's further ahead and that, you know, it kind of makes them feel maybe I haven't got what it takes to get to this place.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I'd say it's a combination, right? It's fear and it's getting stuck in a comfort trap as well for a lot of people. And yeah, I mean, if you think about it, everything imposter syndrome, that is fear as well, right? Fear is probably the main thing for people.
Absolutely. And also I think you know, sometimes losing track of your vision or the bigger picture, and it's so easy sometimes if you're, you know, in fear mode or scarcity to just, you know, be week by week and month by month. And it's like, you know, really tuning back into your why, your purpose, and the bigger vision. And Hannah, I want to ask you as well, what's something that you feel like no one talks about or mentions about the transition between a 5 and 6 figure business? Something that's not spoken about, something that's fluffed over.
Yeah.
That you wish that someone had been really fucking honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of fluff out there, and I'm gonna be really honest with this. I think we see so much fluff now on social media, and I think, you know, no disrespect to people out there who do, like, you know, people have done very well. I think even putting yourself out there in the first place is a very brave thing to do. But I do think that we need a little bit more rawness around what it actually takes in this journey, because it's not easy. And it looks easy on paper, on a Instagram grid, it looks easy, and it's not, and this is the harsh reality. It's not easy. And this is why you've got to have that purpose, and you've got to feel like it's your mission, because without that, you're going to give up, because it's that one thing alone that's going to keep you going, even through those really hard times. I can't tell you the amount of sleepless nights I've had, the times I've been on the bathroom floor in tears and thinking, why,
Absolutely.
it's my wit's end, ready to pack it all in. I can't tell you the amount of times I've gone on a job. I've actually looked and started even applications to go back to my
I think
career.
so many people have been there. I think so many people have been there. Oh my goodness.
It's the grit that you're going to need at the end of the day, and that takes a lot, and that can only come through getting through challenges. And as I say, like, my branding is jumping through hoops. It's been able to jump through the hoops, and know that once you've jumped through one hoop, you're going to get another one to jump through, and it's just, yeah, to keep going. But as I say, I don't think there's enough rawness out there. I don't think there's enough people really talking about the, I don't want to call it the dark side, but the dark side. But I don't think there's enough people talking about the challenges.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about, oh, this is my life, like my luxury holiday, or like this is the life of luxury that I've built for myself. And I think that's wonderful to talk about that. But I do think you need a bit of both. I think we need a lot more people talking about what it's actually taken. Because when I think back, there's been times that, and I don't advocate for this, don't get me wrong, but I remember having my third child, and I was in a hospital bed, just given birth, an hour before, and I'm answering emails.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah.
And it's things like that actually no one's seen. Everyone looks now and they say, oh, you've built quite a nice lifestyle. But actually, what did it take me to get to this point?
Lots of sacrifice as well. And I do think that
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is hugely a spiritual game, and brings
Yeah.
up all your stuff, mirrors a lot of different things, and
Yeah.
a lot of people coming in and out of your life to teach you lessons. And
Oh gosh, yeah. And I think you're tested by a lot of people come in to kind of almost like serve as like slight distraction, see about how serious are you about this.
absolutely,
You're throwing a lot of distraction.
definitely. And something else I really want to talk about that I don't think is touched on that much at the moment in different spaces is family and friendship support. I think when you're going through this and having the right people around you, which obviously makes such a huge difference. And not everyone is, blessed with an incredible family and incredible parents and supportive siblings, and, even friends that, aren't necessarily jealous or envious, or all of those things of what you've created, which can be, yeah, very bittersweet and I think difficult to deal with. And so what's that journey been like for you, Hannah, I think, of having that support around you?
It's a hard one to talk about, really, if I'm honest, because my parents, they have been great in certain aspects of my life, and I'm really grateful for my family. I really am. But I think because what I have done is almost step out of a box that I was almost, that we're all put in a box to a certain extent, right? And I think it's just a lack of understanding on other people's parts of what you're trying to do. Like, and at the end of the day, you've got to understand it's only really us that understands our mission, and it's really only us. And I think it's accepting that fact. And I mean, there was a time in my life where I really was seeking external validation, especially from my parents. I would probably say that's probably why I've done a lot of things that I've done. I've been a really massive overachiever. Like, when I think back on the reasons behind why I actually wanted to become a pilot in the first place. Yes, I loved flying, I loved aviation, but it was almost about proving myself. And I think it was seeking that approval, probably when I think about it now, from my parents to say, well done, give me a big clap,
In there.
And so, yeah.
Christ.
It's not until you let go of not needing that actually I have more of a healed relationship now with my parents, for sure, because I'm not seeking that anymore. I don't need that. And I think once you can understand that you don't need the external validation, yes, of course, it would be nice to have more support. Of course, it would. But it's also knowing where to look for that support, who has the capacity to offer that support for you.
And not to keep going back sometimes for more evidence to reinforce what you already know. And I guess I'll show quite openly that when I actually, this is quite painful for me, but when I launched my business about full-time as a coach 2 years ago, I remember, working with a big brand team to get my website out and did this whole sort of program in New York just before to get everything launched. And I'd emailed across my website to both of my parents, and just neither of them replied and said anything, and just like no follow-up or anything. And it was a bit of a crushing moment. But again, it's having no expectations and following through with what you're here to do, and just really staying true to yourself, I think. And sometimes, you're just not going to get the reactions or the support or the praise that you might want. And knowing that you're absolutely not alone in that. And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and the resilience that comes with that. And there will be other people along the way that do support you in different ways, and that do show up. And what would you say, I guess, on the friendship side of that, Hannah, of having, I guess, really supportive friends that have championed you and seen you in your highest vision?
Yeah, again, very similar, like I would say to like the family side of things. It's like actually I've had to shed a lot of friendships over the years. Um, not for just you outgrow people, right? And that's okay. You have to actually say that that's okay. I don't think anything should ever be forced. Like I think there's different people that will come onto your path, different phases and different stages of your life. And I do think, and I'm very much someone that says, I keep a small circle. Um, I do think that having a network of people around you that are on that same path or a similar path to you, very similar frequency, because I think that's so important and it's vital. And this is where I think networking comes in really important. I think like being in masterminds, being in certain mentorship groups, for example, is where you're going to find your people. I think you need to know where you're going to find your people.
And being surrounded by people in a similar mindset with similar values and like belief systems about what really is possible.
Yeah. And there's the saying, like, your network is your net worth, and I do believe that that's very true because and there's another saying, you become the sum of the five people you hang around with the most.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's good, it's not about just taking from others, it's giving back. And it's being able to bounce off people. It's being around people that really like
being
you up.
reciprocal as well. Yeah.
Yeah, where you can just bounce that energy and it grows and you expand. And I think people come into our lives to be either, unfortunately, expanders or the opposite, and I think it's looking for the people that are going to expand you, because that's ultimately what we're all here for on planet Earth, is to grow. It's to grow. It's to be able to evolve the planet. And without expanders and us kind of having this sort of ripple
in the elevation. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I guess going onto a more lighter side of the excitement piece around when you did finally get to the other side, what was that like when you just hit, that seven-figure mark? And almost like that hurdle, or did it not feel any different? Or
I'll be honest, there's nothing. I didn't feel anything. It didn't feel anything any different. I think you always have this vision, don't you, when you're in the very beginning? Oh, what's it going to feel like when I get there? But actually, the truth is, it's not going to feel any different because.
Did you feel proud though, or like,
yeah? And I think this is something that we should say is that we should always be celebrating ourselves along the journey. We always need to stop and look back and see how far we have actually come. Because we don't do that enough either. It's always like, where do I need to go to next? Where do I need to go to next? And without stopping, pausing, and looking, oh gosh, look, this is how far I've actually come. Absolutely. This is what I've actually achieved. So I think that's really important.
And I think there's like a big self-recognition piece as well. I think when I really jumped across in my finances and with the type of clients I was attracting, there was a huge piece for me around like self-recognition of like the transformations I was creating, not just in my own life, which was insane, but with the quickness and the depth into others. And then when you also start comparing yourself to other coaches on the market, or other people in your industry or in your peer group, and then really starting to see where the gap in the gain is and where you stand out and your unfair advantages. And or just when you really start looking at that holistically, I think that's another like key element to self-recognition and up leveling, because you're recognizing yourself and your value on such an intrinsic level that I think that really then translates in your finances and in the type of people that you attract, not just clients, but also friendships and relationships and your network. That for me has been a huge shift actually as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would add, I guess, on that?
You know what? I think it's all a journey, isn't it? It's all a journey. And I think we need to remember, as I say, coming back to remembering what your why, right? It's your reason why. And this question, it was a mentor of mine actually asked it once to a group of us on a mastermind call, and she was like, not who are you, it's why are you?
Yeah.
And I think that reframes a lot. And I think if you can go back to that, cut out all the noise and go back to that why.
And why are you you, Hannah?
Mm.
Put you on the spot there.
Well, I mean, yeah, when I think about the work I'm doing and I have done, when I talk about the initiatives that we've just finished actually this summer or about to wrap up, which is the scheme which is funded by the UK government for its wellbeing programs for vulnerable children. And I mean, that has been one of the toughest things I've ever done in business. Like, I would say it's been so challenging. Yeah. And it would have been very easy to give that up and do something different, which I could probably made a lot more money from, to be fair. But it's going back to that why and that purpose. And it's almost like it's not even my why. It's come from something higher than me. It's something that's in my mind, for me, it's God. For you, it could be the universe, it could be whatever it might be, that's the unseen. But for me, it's God, and it's my why, it's the reason why I'm here, because that work that I'm doing is God's work, and I am a tool here to do that work.
And channel,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also being opening yourself to that and to even like be a channel as well, and answer the callings and all of that stuff.
And I think it's trusting that, your why will, if you're not sure on what the why is, it will come. It will come. And I think you have to sometimes just quieten the mind, cut out all the noise, and that's when your why will be revealed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there'll be I was listening to a podcast the other day, I think with Oprah Winfrey and one of the founders of the Hoffman Process, and he was saying, you'll know your purpose because there'll be a very strong heart connection to that you won't be able to let go of. And yeah, I felt really resonated to that. And I guess, Hannah, as well, in your journey again from that real up level from a 5-figure to a 7-figure business, I guess what have been one of your hardest moments in that time, or what triggered that moment where you said you were on the floor and you were just in tears and you were just like ready to give up?
Yeah, there's been many.
Yeah.
There's been
very naturally
many moments. But again, it's coming back to like, okay, this is bigger than me.
Yeah.
This is bigger than me. And there's always been some faith, some deep faith and knowledge within me to know that I'm always looked after. And actually, it's like, right, pick myself up off the floor now. I've got the tools. I've done a lot of inner work. I know what I need to do to just pick myself up. In an hour's time, I'm going to be great. I'm going to be back on it.
It's the bounce back rate as well, I think. Yeah.
There was a time when I wouldn't have been strong enough to do that. But that time, I wouldn't have been given this mission right now, because I wasn't ready for it. And it's like, actually, no, I've been chosen by God, the universe. I've been chosen to do this. Pick yourself up, Hannah. God's going to protect you. You're okay. You've got this. There's a solution. And the thing is, the minute I surrendered and trusted that a solution would always present itself, that everything was always working out for me, then I was able to lean back completely. And this is in every aspect of my life, right? And I can do that now to this day where things don't really get to me. I might, oh, yes, I cry. Yes, I'm human. I let it process. I let it move through me. But yeah, it's trusted. It's trusting that actually it's all going to work out. Like, and there's never been a time where I haven't found a solution. And now it's got quicker and quicker and quicker. You know, now it's to the point where I can actually, right, give me a problem, give me a challenge, great. I can find a solution within 30 minutes to that.
There's so much to be said for surrendering and like
Mhm.
the sacred pause and just the releasing of control, which I think so many of us have as women as well. And, you know, there's a big part of just trusting in life and like the natural flow of things and the deeper intelligence as well that's like really guiding us through what it is that we're here to do, I think. And I was just thinking as well as you were saying that, I guess what's something that you really wish that that would have made a huge difference, I think, in that process of going for a 5 to 7 figure business of, oh, I wish either someone had told me that or I'd done that differently or that would have just completely streamlined the whole thing for me.
What it is about the surrender and the trust, and it's like also, it's knowing that you can take the foot off of the gas, right? You know, you've got the foot on the accelerator. You don't need to be 100 miles an hour all the time. It's okay to take it off slightly. It's not just going to stop dead. You're still going to keep moving.
But
you can ease off.
And do you know why that is as well? So I used to get really worried about this. I was like, oh my God, if I take my foot off the gas, or I'm going to just take a couple of days off. I'm not going to remember my job. I'm not going to remember how I did anything. And it's like, someone once said to me, it's like, Gina, it's in your nature, like it's who you are. So of course you're always going to come back to that. And because it's part of who you are. I'm also Capricorn as well. So, you know, very logical, hardworking, good work ethic, all this stuff. But it really, I don't think you ever have to worry about losing that because it's so intrinsically just part of who you are.
Yeah, but you have to go through, like, no one goes into building a business in day one and knows everything, right? It takes time. You are going to have to just learn as you go, and that means making mistakes. And, you know, if you think about it, really, I think failures are the things that actually define you more than success. Like, for me, I appreciate it and I'm grateful for every single perceived failure there has been, right? And not just in my business, but in my personal life as well. Because can you imagine if you just got, you know, everything just went like you were successful in everything that you did?
Or it's just instantly amazing all the time. I think there's so much trial and error, like learning, but
it would it?
yeah, exactly. And I think, yeah, there's also a lot to be said for, you know, learning the lessons and integrating, you know, otherwise they keep coming back around to learn the same things. And I think also our personal lives and our business lives are very much interconnected with how we show up in the areas as well.
I will add as well, I do think what's helped me a lot is mentorship.
I was just about to say that,
yeah. And you know, like when you talk about going from 5 figures to 7 figures, like for me, when I decided to join mastermind groups, get a mentor, the game changed. Yeah, it changed because it's not that I was taught by anyone to do something I didn't already know how to do. It's one, accountability, and it's two, going back to that network and being surrounded by the people that get it.
And being shown what's possible as well. And almost as well, like in your female, in your demographic too. Wow. Was there anyone in your life, even through like childhood or early 20s, where that really stuck out for you of like, this person's so inspiring, almost like a lighthouse, you know, thinking like we often have these lighthouses that come into our lives and just, yeah, show us what's possible, show us how it can be done and that life can be differently. And I guess, was there someone that stuck up for you, even a family member or a colleague or?
I mean, I would say like probably actually for me it was my nan. My nan actually was she was a business owner and she was also one of the first women in the UK to be ordained as a priest. And I watched her hold a lot. She had children, she had a business to run, and she actually, like later on in life, she did an awful lot with the church with grief counselling, for example, and she would I just was mesmerized by how she was able to hold so many people, quite a lot of heaviness as well, but also still be this just this rock, you know, to everybody. And everyone was welcome all the time. You know, she had, I think it was 10 grandchildren. and we'd all just be in and out of my house. Everyone was welcome. There'd always be food for everyone. It literally just this woman was for me, she's my grandma, but yeah, I think she for me is probably it's almost like for me, it's like getting quite personal here, but like it's like she left this earth and it was almost like I'm here to continue some of that mission.
Thank you for sharing. And God, the other thing I was going to ask was, so I personally don't come from a family of any business owners. I think my uncle is an entrepreneur, and that for me has been, I guess, quite tough. But you have come, your mum and
Mm.
your grandmother were, yeah,
Hmm.
businesswomen,
Yeah.
business owners. Do you think that made a big difference in your journey?
Yeah, I mean, I do actually. I come from my whole family is self-employed
Yeah,
and business owners. My dad's self-employed. My great granddad was he was a great entrepreneur. He's got a great story. I'll tell it one day. So it's in my blood. I do
yeah,
believe that. And yeah, I watch these people around me. I've not mentioned my great granddad, but actually he was a very inspirational person too. So I'm very blessed actually to have witnessed a lot of that around me.
there's probably a lot of like traits and character qualities that also been passed down as well.
Yeah, and I mean,
Epigenetics.
yes, I do believe so. And I think watching, I mean, my mum, she was a great business owner. She's just retired now. My dad as well. I've watched my dad. Um, actually, my dad has just, I've just thought like they never did any marketing or anything. It was just trusted. The work's just coming. Didn't you ever remember seeing my dad panics that the work wasn't ever coming?
Mm, that's great. That's a
Yeah,
great point.
yeah. So no, I have been blessed in that
Yeah.
respect. Yeah. And I mean, I have been lucky to a certain extent where my parents have understood part of my journey, but because I think they, I mean, they were happy where they were at, right? But to see me kind of then step further out of that, it was like, whoa,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what are you doing?
No, totally. And was there anything, I guess, specific that you did in terms of, I guess, even somatically
Mm.
around money mindset or something that really shifted
Mm,
internally? Because I think
yeah.
there's a lot to be said in terms of like capacity of what you
Uh-huh.
can physically hold in your body and energetically, or
Yeah.
even just like how you spend money and how you track it and
Hmm.
how that's also tied as a woman to your own power as well.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a hula hooper, right? And I mean, actually, and then this is what I talk about a lot in my two books I've written, especially in Dancing Through Hoops, and the connection of um the body, the mind, and how it's all very much interlinked. And for me, actually, movement, dancing, hula hooping has helped me, I believe, shift a lot.
Like energy.
A lot of stuck energy, a lot of stuck emotion. And alongside that, Kundalini yoga has also been very powerful for me, breath work. So, I've got a lot of tools up my sleeve that have massively helped me shift. And this is what I'm saying now. I find it very quick. I'm able to move feeling down here within, 30 minutes to an hour. I'm back up here using the tools that I have, definitely based around somatics and movement. And that's probably what's
Mm.
also inspired me with my brand,
Yeah.
GlobeFit, and obviously the fitness element to it, because I know how much movement, I mean, for me, movement's everything. Because, when you're moving that body, what you're doing is, you're releasing the endorphins, the happy hormones, everything's shifting, everything's moving, and you are shifting all of that emotion, which is energy emotion, right? You're just shifting it all. And you're able to move through things a lot quicker through movement.
It's incredibly like when
Mm.
we reprogram our physiology as well, it's incredibly empowering too, and just yeah,
Mm.
energizing cardio. I mean, there's so many benefits on there.
Hmm.
Amazing. Well, Hannah, thank you so much. You have been amazing. Is there anything else that you would love to share with our incredible audience?
Um, yeah, I mean, I can end it on just saying, I think if you can just going back to you mentioned something earlier, about people's self-belief and I think everything it's just remembering and your self-belief in yourself and you'll go back to your why. Why are you doing what you are doing? Okay. And if you can always remember that, you're not going to go wrong in what you're on your journey. It's just shifting back to that why. whenever you feel like out of alignment, just come back to that why.
Amazing advice. And there's just one question as well, which I am gonna start asking every podcast guest. Because I read it somewhere on Instagram and I was like, that's so powerful. If you were to die tomorrow, Hannah, what message would you want to leave with people?
Ooh.
This is what I thought. I was like, fucking
Yeah, do you know, oh, what's the last one? Wow. Do you know, my message would just be like, right, just enjoy every single moment that you're here. Life is actually really magical. Yes, there's so much crap going on in the world. Yes, there's a lot of pain, but even within pain, there's beauty.
beauty. I
And
always say it's beauty in the struggle,
there is.
the war of art.
And I mean, it's hard to hear that in the moment when you're struggling and when you are going through pain. But when you're through it, you can almost look back and see why certain things happen, why things have been so painful. And unfortunately, it's almost like sometimes you're not going to shift into your next level without pain, or it's almost as
Yeah,
a
oh my
maneuver.
God, there's a word as well. I can't remember,
Mm.
sigma or something to do with that. And it's redirects you into a different
Hmm.
direction. I'll remember after.
Yeah, it's alchemizing,
Yeah.
right? So you can alchemize that pain into your greatest power. And I think it's just remembering there's beauty all around us, like, and just, yeah, it's no point in getting caught up in the little things.
Mm. And
There's
taking
no
things
point.
personally and all these kind of
It's
things.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just enjoying this beauty and this magic that, because we don't know how long we're here for at the end of the day. No one knows, do they? And yeah, I think it's for me, like if I was on my deathbed right now, I'd be like, just actually, yeah, thank you. What a great ride.
Yeah. What a bloody great ride. Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you so much again, Hannah. You have been amazing. What an amazing guest. And I'm going to tag all the links at the end so you can find Hannah, work with her, get all her juice, get all her wisdom. And we will see you, yeah, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you get your podcasts. And just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to tune in and join our conversation. And we really hope you've gotten a lot of value out of it as well. And we'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. So, yeah, thank you so much. Mwah!